As I'm sure you're all aware by now, I rarely do standalone videos. I don't like it. But this TikTok stuff is driving me fucking nuts. The people who are opposed to this ban have clearly not read the legislation. The politicians who have opposed the ban have clearly said yes to money from Jeff Yass, TikTok, ByteDance, or the Club for Growth. And by the way, their fucking army of lobbyists that they have here on Capitol Hill, some of them streaming right outside my window, no doubt. Um, you have to understand this. You are being sold a bill of goods here that is so transparent. It's so obvious. It's so abundant that I thought I'll take a second to just go through the legislation with you. Um, because clearly not enough people have read it, and clearly they're being sold this yarn about, oh, this thing is going to be used to ban X, and it's not. It's not possible for that to occur under this legislation. It's totally possible for it to occur under other legislation. That legislation doesn't exist yet. But the idea that this is giving the United States government, that this is giving Joe Biden, that this is giving the regime more power over US domestic companies is a total nonsense. Divest yourself of that information. That is spin. That is propaganda. That is literally what people are currently right now, being paid hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of dollars to lobby for here on Capitol Hill. You know how I know? Because they approach people like me and say, hey, would you mind talking about this? Hey, would you mind taking a trip to this place or that? That's how this place works. And you'll notice I don't do any of that. Plenty of people do, by the way. Plenty of people I know do. Okay, just want to go through this with you quickly. Here is the legislation. 12 pages. You should read this yourself as a citizen stakeholder. 12 pages, not a lot. Yesterday, by the way, I went through all of the. That's going to look great on replay. All of the transcripts from the Biden, her interviews. I don't expect you to go through 270 pages back and front in small print of transcript stuff. But 12 pages of legislation, I kind of expect you to want to do, especially if you're going to have an opinion on this stuff, especially if you're going to have a bad opinion on this stuff. So I just want to read to you very quickly why this is not a threat to X. They are not going to use this. What this doesn't do is give the regime more power over your domestic rights to say things on social media. This is taking power away from the Chinese Communist Party and Chinese Communist Party members, investors, foreign nationals, ByteDance, and other foreign adversaries. And we'll get into the definition of that in a second. I won't take up too much of your time. To protect the national security of the United States from threat posed by foreign adversary-controlled applications, such as TikTok and any successor application or service and any other application or service developed or provided by ByteDance Limited, that's TikTok's parent company, or an entity under the control of ByteDance Limited. So off the bat, we're very specific, right? This is foreign adversary-controlled applications and ByteDance Limited or an entity under the control of ByteDance Limited. As you can see, I've done my highlights on this just to make sure that I was right, had to go through it again. So we talk about, in general, prohibition of foreign adversary controlled applications. It shall be unlawful for an entity to distribute, maintain, or update, or enable the distribution, maintenance, or updating of a foreign adversary controlled application. What, therefore, you ask, is a foreign adversary controlled application? Well, an application that satisfies the definition of a foreign adversary controlled application pursuant to subsection G3A, that is in here as well, G3A. Foreign adversary controlled application. The term foreign adversary controlled application, how many times can I say it, means a website, desktop application, mobile application, or augmented or immersive technology application that is operated directly or indirectly, including through a parent company, subsidiary, or affiliate by A, any of ByteDance, TikTok, a subsidiary or successor to an entity identified in clause I or II that is controlled by a foreign adversary, or an entity owned or controlled directly or indirectly by an entity identified in clause III or III, or a company covered that is controlled by a foreign adversary and that is determined by the president to present a significant threat to the national security of the United States, following the issuance of a public notice proposing such determination, a public report to Congress submitted not less than 30 days before such determination, describing the specific national security concern involved and containing a classified annex and description of what assets would need to be divested to execute a qualified divestiture. Very, very specific. Okay? This isn't about, any social media firm that does something or says something or hosts something that we don't like. This talks about divestiture, right? In other words, this is the exact legislation that Trump wanted passed when he was still in office, right? In the first term. This was having Chinese communist controlled companies having to either not be able to reach Americans and your data and watch you through the front face of your video camera on your phones and all of that, or it's divestiture. It's selling. You have to sell a certain amount of the company for the US under this legislation to be satisfied that you are not a foreign adversary controlled entity, right? Which I think is literally what we've all wanted Congress to do for years now. And suddenly the Jeff Yass and the Club for Growth and the Lolbertarians on the internet start coming and going, oh, this is going to apply to X. They are lying to you and they are taking money to lie to you. Foreign adversary country. The term foreign adversary country means a country specified in section 4872D2 of Title 10, United States Code. Well, I just so happen to have a copy of that right here. Covered nation. The Democratic People's Republic of North Korea. The People's Republic of China. The Russian Federation. The Islamic Republic of Iran. This legislation is not meant to censor you on X. It is not meant to target American companies. You are being played right now by the people who are willing to take money from the Chinese Communist Party. If they're willing to take money from the Chinese Communist Party to lie to you about this, then I don't know why you're following them at all. But what do I know? I've only been working on this for like a fucking decade.